It's time for the main event. It's the
Drew, Earth to Drew. ¿Qué pasa? What up, everybody? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that weekly boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie? Man, it sounds like it was a bad day at the office. And by the way, I heard it's 100 degrees in Philadelphia, and it's a big week for Philadelphia because, man, Philadelphia's biggest star is at home for his big homecoming. I'm talking about Boots Ennis. I know you're excited. You should be very excited about that.
There's still tickets left, but I don't really have no desire of going to it.
Somebody send Drew a compliment. If you're watching the Shoe Shine and you're a big Philadelphia gym and you got the hookup with PBC or whatever promotional outfit is backing Boots Ennis, hook Drew up because I'm going to the fights this weekend to celebrate my wedding anniversary. And what better way to celebrate a wedding anniversary than with a wife that likes the sweet science? So shout out to my wife. We're going out to Top Rank at the Palms Casino. And good friend of the show, Ruben Villa, is a 126-pound contender. He will be part of the action, so I'm excited to see him in the ring. Drew, it was a crazy weekend for the sport of boxing. But, you know, I can't seem to get away from the big story to me is that we got two of the biggest stars in boxing, Ryan Garcia and Shakur Stevenson, who fought this week. Both what they call Gen Z. And it seems like they're crashing out on social media in front of everybody's eyes. One of them, we can't cancel the guy. Ryan Garcia just seems to be uncancelable. The other guy, Shakur, over 200 tweets on X over the weekend, and he won. Oh, by the way, he won. If you guys didn't know that, Shakur Stevenson won, Drew. We'll get into those fights. We'll get into the, 18,000 plus people watch Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. Shout out to the 209 in person in Anahiem. Over 19,000 tickets I heard sold. Meanwhile, Shakur sells 8,000 and half of them were walking out the damn stadium before the fight was over. You can't make this shit up. Welcome, everybody. My name is Dave in the 702. Again, this is the Shoe Shine Boxing Recap with my co-host all the way live from the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Drew, where do we get started? Should we just jump right into it? Because Shakur Stevenson is one of the champions, the WBC champion at the 135-pound division, the one that features Tank Davis, the WBA champion, the one that features Lomachenko, a champion in his mid-30s again, and also his teammate from the Olympic Ukrainian team, Baranchek. Those are the four champions at lightweight. Somehow, Shakur wins again, and he somehow makes an ass of himself again, even going after Steve Kim, Mario Lopez. A shout out to Mario Lopez and Steve Kim holding it up. Drew, as far as I know, Shakur threatened to catch a case against Steve Kim and call him all kinds of inflammatory names, zesty, fruity, just because as a journalist, he's speaking up. Can a journalist not speak up? Let's hear what Drew has to say. Oh, man. By the way, I'm going to enjoy this. He my door.
Oh, man. I'm gonna say one thing about Shakur Stevenson: emotional damage. Because here's the thing, man. Last 5 of his contract, he didn't do himself any favors. He seriously did not do himself any favors. Like, seriously, even before the fight, he was offered a 5-fight, $15 million deal. That's $3 million a fight. Minimum of fight. That's his minimum puss. It's $3 million. He would have got more depending on who he fought. But he chose not to take it. He's not worth what he thinks he's worth because he's really doesn't have a crowd-pleasing style. He's really not willing to engage and fight. So, and his hometown people walk out on him. It's a snores fest. You had Timothy Bradley saying, "Let me get my cup of coffee ready."
Timothy Bradley keeping it real on the broadcast.
Like seriously, man. And then Cameron and Mace call you born. You are a born fighter, dude. You have the nerve to call people out, saying they don't want to fight you because you think they think you're gonna beat them. They don't want to chase you, dude. They don't want to come around and chase you. And everything. Why would they want to chase you for? Like, seriously. I think Shakur really, whoever he's taken advice from, he really got to reevaluate his situation because he's not getting nowhere near what Top Rank offered him. Like, PBC doesn't really have the money to offer him. They might for like a tank fight, but he's not going to get the money he wants for a tank fight. He's going to get the Frank Martin treatment because, hey, you really are not worth shit. Your worth is this. And you thinking that you're worth the money to go see, nobody's going to pay. Nobody wants to pay to go see you. And then now it's being rumored that Lomachenko is stepping aside so Tank can fight Shakur Stevenson next.
Well, I don't know who he's going to fight next, but I will say this. Terrence Crawford had a hard time staying awake. And even the great Andre Ward, shout out to everybody from Oakland, even he looked like he was falling asleep, Drew. So the case is, this was Shakur on national free television. You know, I called up my father-in-law and we said, hey, put him on. And he probably was like, not that guy Shakur again. My son-in-law is calling me to watch him again. But here's the saving grace for Shakur that they're trying to rally around. Reportedly, he did fantastic TV numbers, well over 1 million, close to 1.2, and they're going to bank on that. But let's be real, Drew, because last week we talked about the Devin Haney situation, how much his brand was suffered as a result of the Ryan Garcia ass whooping. Ryan Garcia, so Devin Haney goes to purse bid, and he can't believe that what was the exact offer Top Rank bid for the Devin Haney? Because Shakur thinks he's worth $3 million per fight, even though he's not must-watch television. He's absolutely horrible television.
It's like this. I think the guy that reported that is bullshitting and everything. Like someone had to get him out there to say, "Oh, he did his numbers." Probably early on the show, when Rashaki Foster fought or something. But here's the thing. Here's the main issue. He is too defensive for his own goddamn good. He's going to suffer the same fate as Rigando did. He's going to fight somebody. He's going to be too defensive, and they're going to catch him being defensive, too defensive. And he's probably going to get hurt because of it. Like, here's the thing. Shakur has no inside game whatsoever. Let's just put it out there right now. And if we looking at this right now, that tells you a lot of things. His past couple fights would tell you this. He cannot fight guys that move. He cannot fight good against southpaws most of the time. And this dude does not have an inside game whatsoever. And the thing about it is, I'm going to be honest, someone brought up the fact that Shakur's not ready for a fighter like Tank yet. Shakur's not ready for a fighter like Lomachenko yet. And I'm going to be honest, I have to agree with them. Because what is he going to do if he gets in the ring with these two guys and these two guys have very better footwork than he does? What's he going to do when they cut the ring off and trap him into a corner? What is he going to do when they're giving him angles that he does not know, that he's never seen before? What's he going to do? For one punch at a time to use his reach or something? Or what is the issue? Because tell you the truth, like you kind of say, it's a power problem. He does not have the power to keep somebody off of him. That's an issue also. Shakur Stevenson, instead of like trying to improve his power, trying to be more of the standard boxing, that's not, tell you the truth, man, that's not boxing that he's doing. It's escaping. It's running.
Drew, I think you brought up some great points, and I only have anecdotal evidence, guys. I remind you guys that I went to the fight where Shakur was a featherweight, going for his first vacant featherweight title at 126. It seems like ages ago. Good friend Andy Vences, who fought on Top Rank, and our friend Francisco Esparza also fought on that card in Reno. Drew, in that fight at 126, he's fighting a Mexican guy. I forget the guy's name, but he was dating the Mexican guy's sister. Half the people in the audience walked out on Shakur and were just hanging out in the lobby with other boxing fans. That's the first time I saw Shakur not only win a title, but also drive people out of the arena in Reno, California. That was his first featherweight fight title. He was only 15 fights in to his career, which is kind of like Teofimo. Lomachenko was with the champion at one of the earliest. But for somebody like Shakur, I think it stunted his development. And I heard a lot of people bring up this great point today, Drew. Ever since he started winning titles, which was very young in his professional career, he's only fought twice a year. He's brilliant defensively. That's what Shakur is. He's brilliant defensively. You look at his statistics, he's got the best plus-minus numbers in the game. But when it comes to offense, fighting 2 times a year, man, he is so underdeveloped. This is what I meant by, like, sometimes I got to pass on some criticism to Top Rank with the matchmaking, with the development, because he is very underdeveloped offensively. First of all, we saw the most exciting lightweight this weekend, William Zepeda again. He hurt that guy so quick that I didn't even see what happened. I'm like, what? The fight's over? Shit, come on, Giovanni Cabrera. I thought you'd do better than that. We got a guy who is completely offensively minded that I think stands a damn good chance of beating Shakur, because Castillo beat Floyd Mayweather in the first one. No, he didn't get the nod, but a guy that can throw that many punches is going to break through to someone like Shakur. And Shakur just doesn't have the power. He doesn't put together the combinations to hurt people to get respect. I don't see it. Also, Drew, I forgot that I went and saw Shakur versus Oscar Valdez in Las Vegas when I first moved here to town in Las Vegas. And Drew, that fight was so boring. He made Oscar Valdez look so average with such little effort that I whipped out my phone to see what was cracking on DAZN to see, let me see.
Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor,
which was the exact same night. And I whipped out my phone on DAZN. Everybody behind me is Raza for Oscar Valdez. And they're like, damn, who's winning the fight? Who got that, Serrano or Katie? They were more interested in what was popping on my phone than the damn fight in front of me with 2 great athletes, because Shakur just doesn't know how to entertain a crowd. He still hasn't learned how to do that. But what pisses people off is that he doesn't care. He doesn't seem to care or see that it's a problem. So how do you go into free agency and expect $3 million per fight when Bill Haney and Devin Haney can't get that now? Devin Haney's like, well, shit, you're not going to pay me what I'm used to? Here's your belt back, WBC. You can keep my belt. Maybe I'll take a long vacation because I'm not fighting for $2 million. But that's what the free market says you're worth. Is Shakur Stevenson worth $3 million?
No, he's not even worth $1 million.
Hard to imagine because he is a headliner for ESPN for Top Rank. The numbers say he does well on TV, but shit, Teofimo does good on TV. He's inconsistent
and here's
himself.
The thing. Teofimo said I would never lace up a pair of gloves to fight Shakur Stevenson. And I'm going to tell you why. And I already know why. Teofimo can't cut the wing off as it is. What makes you think he's going to chase Shakur Stevenson around for 12 rounds and not be able to cut the wing off? Like, seriously, I blame some of this on Top Rank for not getting him guys that will really challenge him and everything to make him fight. But, same time, man, he thinks he's the next big thing in boxing. And, Bob's protecting his boy and everything. No. What made you think you deserve a fight with Lomachenko? What made you think you deserve a fight with Tank? Like, seriously. You were offered 25% from Devin Haney and you turned it down. That's the first mistake you did. If you think you could have beaten Devin Haney, sometimes you got to take the small L of the stick or the pot to prove a point. He didn't take that and everything. Mistake number one. Mistake number two, you didn't take that fucking 5-fight, $15 million deal from Top Rank. So I don't know what Shakur's looking for, but he's not getting what he wants. He's not getting anywhere near what he wants. And as for Devin Haney really got to look at it like this. You were overpaid, extremely overpaid when you were with Matchroom the first time around. You were fighting motherfuckers that were out of the prime to build your career up for $3.5 million. And then you get your ass beat by Ryan Garcia. Yeah, he was on PED, but it didn't really do enough for his skill. You couldn't defend a simple left fucking hook that night and got nailed. But here's the thing about Shakur Stevenson. He had opportunities to make good paydays, and he turned them the fuck down because he thinks he's worth more, and he's absolutely not. And now he's got to deal with the bullshit now, because now he's got to find out who's a suitor for him. Who's willing to put some money up for him to promote him? And then Eddie Hearn's going to say, oh, he was poorly promoted. What the hell can you do better to promote him? You're not going to match him over Andy Cruz. I'll tell you this one. I think Andy Cruz beats Shakur Stevenson right now.
And by the way, guys, Andy Cruz is the Cuban gold medalist. Shakur fighting also an Olympic medalist in Artem Haruyanan, who I saw fight Frank Martin. And Drew, here's a picture of what he looked like after that Frank Martin fight. That fight was way more entertaining because Frank Martin had to rally back to win that. And it was pretty close. In fact, it was so close that at the time I'm watching this fight, I thought that maybe Frank got a gift decision. He looked pretty unscathed. That just goes to show the comparison to me in power and how much more actually Frank Martin is willing to engage in the pocket and be exciting. This is why his face looks the way it does, Drew. $3 million for a 5-fight deal, $15 million. You know what? Man, I can't believe he passed up on that offer. This kind of reminds me of like when Teofimo thought he was going to move over to that Trilla TV thing, that TV deal with Trilla, and how that completely flopped and he had to go back with his, tuck his tail in between his legs back to Bob Arum.
Let's put it out there right now. Him signing with Floyd would be very bad for boxing because Floyd will hold that title hostage.
I don't think it's going to happen. Let me just engage with the chat. Shout out to everybody joining us. Make sure you hit that like as you come in. And also, we got the phone line back up, and I want to make sure the phone line is working. It's been on for 29 minutes. So if you feel inclined to call and join the conversation on the Shoe Shine, Nando, if you want to try the old phone line, let me know. Shout out to Remy, Nerd, everybody just joining us, and everybody new. Thank you for joining the Shoe Shine.
Do me a favor. Please do not put me the fuck to sleep. I am tired.
Nobody. I hear you. Nobody's gonna put you to sleep.
I worked so fucking many hours a day. I do not need a born motherfucker put me to sleep today.
Drew works for the city of Philly, man. He's been working hard. It's humid. By the way, guys, it's 117 degrees in Las Vegas. I don't know what it is right now, but Drew said it's 100 plus humidity. So you pick your poison. 100 with humidity. Or 117 here in the desert.
But here's the thing. Andy Cruz knocks out Keyshawn Davis. Because I tell you,
now we're talking about Keyshawn? That Mexican guy. Drew, the Mexican guy they put in with Keyshawn. I'm sorry. That Mexican guy they put in with Keyshawn was so bad.
I'm sorry. Keyshawn Davis is not a top. Is not going to be a top guy at 135. Like, here's the thing. I think Andy Cruz stops him. I really think that a majority of the guys can beat him and everything. Like, let's look at it like this. Who does he beat at 135 that's in the top 5? None of them. I don't think he beats none of them.
Okay. You're talking about Shakur. You don't think he beats Loma? Tank?
No.
Zepeda, who's ranked number 1 in every sanctioning body?
I don't think he beats Zepeda.
Do you think speaking of, you think Keyshawn Davis can beat, and he's also a medalist. Keyshawn, a silver medalist. Silver medalist versus silver medalist. Keyshawn versus Shakur.
Nah, Shakur beats Keyshawn.
I gotta say this. At least Keyshawn has got some offense. I see the comment by Nando saying he's chicken hawk punk, but at least he's got some offense going and he's willing to engage much more. But the guy that they put in there was a complete hype job on his resume. On his
Here's the thing: they're all pushovers. Like, seriously, you put Pedraza in to try to get him a name on his resume. Pedraza's done.
Yeah, he's a gatekeeper, unfortunately, at this point.
Like seriously, like I just don't get. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to be keeping it 100 here. Keyshawn Davis does not beat Lomachenko, does not beat Shakur Stevenson, does not beat Zepeda, does not beat Tank Davis. He probably just stopped by 3 out of the 4 names I already mentioned. That's how much I think Keyshawn Davis in this division. But let's look at it like this. If we're gonna look at it, the division, like I'll let you know this right now. I would even probably pick Frank Martin to beat Keyshawn Davis. That's how much I really
I got a lot of respect for Frank Martin now, even more so after the Tank fight. After watching him fight in Las Vegas twice, I got more respect for Frank Martin as a serious top 5 lightweight. That because of his experience now and his win over, I wouldn't mind seeing Frank Martin mix it up with anybody in the top 5. I think he's legit, and this is for a guy that started off late. Now, while we're on this top rank card, before we move on to any other fights, Drew, I want to say this. I think it's entirely possible that Shakur Stevenson is so in love with what he does in the ring that he fails to realize something very important. What happened to O'Shaquie Foster, the 130-pound champion that I really respect? I really respect the hustle in O'Shaquie Foster because he didn't make the road to world champion undefeated like a lot of guys. A lot of guys keep that perfect blemish record because their promoter matches them up. But O'Shaquie Foster didn't have that privilege of being selected by a promoter and being privileged to fighting whoever they wanted to kind of cherry pick their way up to a world title. He earned the world title the hard way. And the bullshit they pulled on him this weekend on that scorecard, giving Robson Constantin the win, man, that is some fucking bullshit. And to be honest, Shakur Stevenson, that could be you in your very next fight. You are going to fight in a city that's not going to be feeling the way you fight. It could be Las Vegas. Could be in Texas, could be in LA. Who knows? They're not going to be feeling your style. And unlike what happened that you seem to be getting the nod each and every time, that might be you. You might be the next O'Shaquie Foster that people say, I don't think you won that fight. I didn't like what you did in the ring. I'm going to put up the scorecard and I'm going to see who's calling because it looks like we got a call real quick.
Let's look at here's the thing. I did it. I had the fight 9-3 Foster. I didn't think it was an 11-1 fight, but I did not think I thought the wrong guy won the fight. I thought Foster won that fight clearly. I had it 9-3 for him.
So I got right.
But it's these judges. Here's the thing. He should get an immediate rematch because there should be an investigation on these judges. But I just don't get how you can score one. You can give the dude 7 rounds. You can't give him no more than 4 rounds. If 4 rounds is being generous, but I can't see him winning no more than 4 rounds in this fight. I just don't see it. Like if you look at, I thought O'Shaquie did a fine job in this fight. This is like this. If you look at the situation the same way as I looked at the Jesus Ramos fight that he was robbed in.
Right. Anthony Lundy scored it 8-4 for Conceição.
I don't get that. I don't understand that.
Ronald McNair scored it 116-112 for, let's see here, for Foster. That's the only judge, in my opinion, that got it nearly correct. And then a 115-113, which is what, seven rounds to 5, essentially, in favor of Conceição Paul Wallace. And we got a phone call real quick. Is this our boy Lukey?
Yeah, you know who it is.
Hey, what's good? Lukey Boxing, everybody from YouTube, real quick. We'll take this call real quick. Lukey, if you want to keep it short, on whatever subject. And by the way, I know that our boy Ruben Villa, shout out to him, he's fighting Saturday. If you got any word on his opponent, man, I would appreciate that.
I mean, the guy he's fighting is a guy that, I believe it's the guy that Jermaine Ortiz fought in the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones exhibition card when Jermaine Ortiz was on that undercard. Keep in mind, I just started watching boxing when Floyd fought Conor McGregor, so I forget these things. But, I mean, Ruben should be a different level than this guy, if we're being honest. But that's why they make the fights. Talk to me, I talk back. Just ask me something.
Yeah, so if you get a hold of him this week, if you have a way to get a hold of Sam, let me know. I'll go down there and interview him at the Palms because I'm not credentialed up for this or anything. But I'll head down there and do an interview, guys.
Yeah, hit me up, and I know a couple of people.
That sounds good, guys. All right, Lukey Boxing. You've seen him on Boxing Scene, nyfights.com, and he's got his own channel here. Drew stepped away to grab something to drink real quick. But your thoughts on this O'Shaquie? I love O'Shaquie Foster, man. What he did in Cancun, pulling out that victory in the 12th round to get robbed against Robson Conceição, who's been in some close fights, man. But I'm going to guess you were not surprised.
I mean, I expect boxing to do stuff like this. So, I'm going to answer this question maybe poetically and maybe boring, and I'm sorry for those in the chat. I love the people that I've met through boxing. I love the sport of boxing when boxing gets it right. I'm grateful to call into your show. I'm grateful for all these people I've met over the past 10 years being involved in boxing that have really changed my life. I've gotten to work around some of the best people. But when boxing messes up, it kills my passion for boxing, right? Because you see a guy like O'Shaquie Foster, right? He, talented guy, Olympic trials alternate, but street guy, he had to get his personal life in order, and And he lost a few fights based on his attitude and based on where he was at. And then, he starts training with Bobby Benton, one of the best coaches. And Bobby's not one of these guys that's just tooting his own horn saying, I'm the best coach, listen to me. No, he's a real coach in the gym doing what boxing guy stuff, right? So to see, and that, I guess that's what also hurts about it, right? It never feels, and I could be wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it never feels like the big famous fighter ever has this happen to him. It's always the blue collar fighter that loses these weird decisions, right? But we don't see Shakur in the main event. It's a slow fight, and we don't see one judge scoring it for Artem. It's always for the blue collar fighter that it's going to make it tough. And I'd be lying to you if I said it doesn't make me a little bitter and it doesn't make it harder for me to watch boxing. I haven't met one person yet who I think thought Conceição won. I've met people who've said they don't care about the outcome because they didn't think it was entertaining. But I haven't heard someone go, I watched the fight and I thought Conceição won. And yet 2 of the 3 judges who are professional judges scored it that way. And to take it further, I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember Paul Williams versus Erislandy Lara? That was a terrible decision. Same state, New Jersey.
Interesting.
So it's and look, it's not the first, it's not the last. We're going to have other bad decisions. And when these decisions happen on big platforms like ESPN, it's painful because the guys like Stephen A. Smith, Bill Burr, Dame Lillard, they're criticizing the sport. This is how people leave the sport of boxing because people assume our sport's corrupt, or at least that's the impression I get when I tell people I write about boxing. They look at me as a criminal and a loser for the most part when I bring it up. I have to say I'm a sports writer because if I bring up boxing, people go, we wish you had done something more with your life. That's the feeling I get. So when this happens, I think it confirms people's bias that we're just kind of a silly person sport. So that's what I think.
Lukey, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to presume, or hopefully you did get a chance to watch Nate Diaz, who represents the 209 versus Jorge Masvidal.
I was on coverage for Boxing Scene. So
amazing. 19,000 people in Anaheim. Of course, it featured some very interesting, exciting prospects. The fight that I was most interested in was the Amado Vargas, the son of Fernando Ferros Vargas, versus Sean Garcia. Because, everybody's eyes was on Ryan Garcia. I was surprised he showed up to support his brother because even Sean Garcia missed one of those press conferences. But there was a lot on the line in this fight, not only because Ryan Garcia made a fool of himself earlier in the weekend, we'll get to that, but because there's a lot of tension saying Ryan Garcia in that lead up to the press conferences said that his family would never lose to a family, to anybody related to Fernando Ferros Vargas. And not only was he humble, his brother was humbled in the ring. Shout out to Amado for that performance, man. He went in for the kill. Do you think it's possible? Emiliano squared up. I want to get to this other robbery because I thought it was a robbery, guys. Go ahead. If you guys watched the main event, let me know if you thought that scorecard was incorrect. But Amado Vargas versus Sean Garcia stops Sean Garcia. Sean Garcia came in overweight, 3 pounds. Looked like he wasn't his best. But this is very interesting to me, Lukey. This has a big fight feel to me. The bringing back a Vargas versus one of the protege of Oscar De La Hoya. You think this fight is... Emiliano looks like he wants this fight. And yes, I know he's only 10 or 11-0, but he just won this past weekend himself on Top Rank. All the brothers are undefeated. What do you think of this, guys? What do you guys think? Is this a fight that is going to happen in the future that could be, obviously Ryan Garcia is going to come back in 10 months. Give this fight a year or two. You guys think they meet at welterweight? Lukey, you think
Emiliano or Amado? Which
Emiliano.
brother?
Emiliano's the star of the 3, yet all of them are undefeated. Shout out to
him. He's the most talented. Yeah, he's the most talented of the 3, yeah.
Well, Nerd says it's possible, and you can see them sizing up here. But what really bothers me, and I know you've got a lot at stake as a journalist, is that nobody wants to stand up and say, let's just cancel Ryan Garcia. Not including Emiliano.
I mean, I'm different. I'm completely fine with that. Because like sometimes, see, here's the thing: Ryan Garcia to me is the boy who cried wolf. And at a certain point, you can say, "Oh, I'm just trolling." Well, when I was in 7th grade, I went to the principal's office and they told me if I murdered someone, sorry wasn't good enough, right? So, how old is he? 25?
I think
20. And he's getting on the internet and saying stuff, right? So when I went to the principal's office at 12 and they said if I murdered someone, sorry wasn't good enough. But he's 25 years old and he's belittling groups of people who can't help how they're born, right? Just lumping people all together. And some of those people that he's making fun of are supporters and fans of him, by the way, right? That's what comes with having a big platform is you don't control who your fans are. Your fans are many different people. And when you say those things, not just does it negatively impact the world, there's people out there that think that you're the coolest guy. They're close to suicide. They're close to doing something bad. They watch your fights because it gets them through their day doing whatever they do, rich or poor. And now all of a sudden, you're no longer relatable to them. Now all of a sudden, the way they look doesn't align with what you're doing. He's playing a dangerous game of internet-ish, right? He's playing a dangerous game of I can say whatever I want, and this is a real BS generation where there's no fear of violence. And I'd advise any young person this is not a game to play. Because if he keeps doing what he's going to be doing, he's going to run into someone that forgot what era they live in.
Well, very well made
but
point.
I'm not very interested in anything he has to say because when he opens his mouth, are you fascinated?
Me? Hell no. As somebody from Gen X, no, I'm not interested in what he says, man. And I'm not praying for him either.
He failed a drug test. And he failed a drug test. And he's suspended. And I haven't once yet heard him take accountability. And now he's apparently just doing bizarre things. He's supposed to be in rehab. I'm completely unfascinated with him. I mean, I barely consider him a pro boxer. I view him as more of like someone that does very shocking content on the internet and occasionally fights. I feel like his internet persona is more of who he is than a boxer.
Very well made.
And he's doing this hatred stuff, whether he believes it or not. You know what happens when you put out bad stuff? You attract bad people. Let me give you an example. No one wants to be a serial killer historian. You want to know why? Because all of a sudden, all the scariest people in America are going to start going, who's that guy that writes about the serial killers? And you're going to have like creepy sedans in front of your house and flashlights peeking in. No one wants that, right? You channel the energy you speak. And when you speak bigotry, hatred, awful, don't be surprised if you're met with the opposite end of the sword. The other guys that feel that same way, but just don't dress it up the same way you dress it up, So I'm completely fine not talking about him, to be honest with you.
Well, we got to at least bring it up. I want to make sure you guys all know here that are listening that my boy Lucas Cattell has a book available on Amazon, and he's got his own YouTube channel where he does his podcast, every Sunday? Lucas?
Man, stop plugging me. Look, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Subscribe to this channel. I listen to it every week. If people want to figure out how, this is a highly intelligent boxing chat of hardcore fans.
I
If you
appreciate
think I'm
that.
halfway decent, they're going to be able to figure out how to get a hold of me. The only thing we should be plugging is this great program. And rather than buying my book or subscribing to whatever I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. These guys come on and do a good show once a week. I think it's very, very interesting and entertaining and fair. And really, instead of plugging me, let's help grow their show and support the show and
Let's
hit
get
that
to
like
1,000
button, you know?
subs as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I'm saying. Instead of plugging me, get one sale on my book. Why don't you guys, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's a great program.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Lukey. Everybody, make sure you check him out. Lukey, I appreciate the great call. We'll be talking to you soon, homie. I'll reach out to you about Ruben V in town.
You got my number, right?
Yup. I'll hit you up. Thanks, Lukey.
Yeah, just shoot me a text because I don't pick up phone calls. I don't know.
No problem. I'll
Shoot
do
me a
that.
text.
All right, guys, everybody. That was
Okay,
Lukey.
bye.
We do got the phone line open. If Nando wants to call, I appreciate everybody. That was our boy Lukey. I did see this comment. It's from Adi Mehdi. Says, I'm sorry, but Ryan Garcia doesn't lose to anyone at 140. But Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but he never made 140 in both of his appearances at 140, 143 twice. So I don't think he's ever going to make 140. He said in his hearing that he could not make the weight at 140, and that's why he took these supplements. He blamed it on his sports nutrition guy or whatever. The guy's name was Scooter. So he's not going to fight, in my opinion, ever at 140. So you got to start thinking about, well, how does he stack up against Mario Barrios? How does he stack up against Boots Ennis? Or does he skip welterweight altogether and just move up to 154 pounds? But even more important than that is I just want to ask you guys, and Drew, why is Ryan Garcia someone that can't be canceled? I mean, you guys remember the guy. If some of you guys might be old enough to remember the comedian Kramer, from the guy, that wasn't his name, but Kramer from Seinfeld, when he was canceled. You never ever seen him in Hollywood ever again. But this weekend, Emiliano Vargas, he don't give a shit about what Ryan said. Some of you guys pointed out they're only interested in a payday against him. Teofimo, not only him, but even Floyd Mayweather he made a statement and he said, don't ask me about it. I think he even took pictures with him this weekend. And he said he didn't want to comment on it. Like, nobody wants to take a stand on it. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I was shaking my head. All right, guys. Drew, did you watch any of the highlights or get to check out that Masvidal versus Nate Diaz? Because it was an entertaining fight. Drew, I think your mic is off.
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, before that, there was Danny Jacobs returned to the ring, late 30s, looked awful. Sadly, he had some great fights against Canelo, Gennady Golovkin. He was a good middleweight champion. He fought cancer and came back. So shout out to him for all he's done in his career. But really, I don't see a need for him to fight anymore. Like I said, we brought up this Amato fight, which, props for Amato. He seems like he's limited, but man, he came to win that fight and he ended up getting the stoppage. So very impressive. All three Vargas brothers are undefeated and have wins in the past 10 days. So shout out to them, Vegas kids. But the main event, Drew, Nate Diaz. I mean, the guy's, he always fights like he's already unconscious, but they gave him the nod.
I don't know. I did not like the fight at all. It was uninspiring.
I got to tell you, for 39 years old, I was impressed with Masvidal more so than, I love the 209. I love all the people in 209. Nate Diaz has been a great UFC champion and warrior and whatnot, but I don't think, I'm just going to be real, man. I don't think, look at these stats. Let me bring back the stats up.
I don't think he won the fight, Nate Diaz.
The stats were pretty close. 151 total punches landed for Diaz, 182 for Masvidal. But, I mean, clearly, guys, it's not hard to judge this fight. The head-snapping punches were all being landed by Masvidal. Masvidal was putting in some very nice combinations. And I have to give credit to Capetillo Boxing Gym from right here in Las Vegas. That's the gym the Vargas brothers train out of. That's the gym when Canelo Vargas. When Canelo Alvarez comes to town, he goes and spars and works out at Capetillo Boxing Gym. And Capetillo Boxing Gym is where Jorge Masvidal made his home for the past few months, taking this shit serious and training out of there and getting some great sparring. I think he deserved to win that fight, but it's just me, man. It was an entertaining show. To me, there was two big robberies this past Saturday. That was the two right there, man. But what do you guys say in the chat, man? And would you like to see those guys run it back? Because to be honest, 19,000 people showed up versus 8,000 to see Shakur. There's more people interested in watching two semi-washed up UFC fighters go at it than watching Shakur Stevenson fight.
I thought Masvidal won the fight. Like I thought Nate Diaz, like, how the fuck did any of those punches hurt if he throws them? Like, I don't get it, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just something that I think we have to look at now in boxing when it comes to fans. But like, this could be a norm. This is probably a norm now in boxing. And it's unfortunate because why people want to watch this? We got real boxers on and everything. Like, it's like I said, man. It was like I said. Next couple of years, this sport's probably is not going to really be as popular as it is now.
I mean, it continues to seem to be on live support, but us hardcore boxing fans do our best right here. You know, there's a lot of big YouTube channels of just for boxing right here on the YouTube community. You and I are one of the smallest ones, but they're keeping it alive. We're keeping it alive, barely alive in the U.S. and somehow outside of the U.S. And I want to talk about this with you, Drew, next, is the fact that there really aren't that many problems when you go over to Europe. Boxing is thriving in the UK.
It's like this. And you wonder what the main reason why boxing in the U.S. has lost popularity? And I'm going to be honest. It's the fans. Fans are one of the main reasons because here's the thing. A lot of fans today bring race into boxing. And when they use their arguments, they use race into it. To me, I think if you use race in the if you debating somebody and you're using race, that these type of fighters get like disrespected. If you use that type of argument, you don't know shit about boxing, in my opinion. You shouldn't have to use race in a boxing conversation or a boxing debate with anybody if you know your shit about boxing. And to tell you the truth, it's a lot of these fucking channels, it's a lot of these fucking people on Twitter that want to say that, they do this because he's a certain type of ethnic. That shit gotta stop. And it's a shame it's never gonna stop. Because a lot of these motherfuckers are low IQ motherfuckers that don't know shit about the sport of boxing, that want to use that bullshit to their advantage because they know people are going to listen to it. People are going to put money in their pocket because a lot of these motherfuckers are probably too lazy to get off their fucking asses to get a job and everything. And it's a fucking shame. And then they want to say, and then certain people want to say that this guy can do what he wants. How? Here's the thing. When Floyd Mayweather was in that stage, his last stage of boxing, he picked his fights, right? He picked his opponents, right, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. And he even picked Pacquiao at the end of his career.
Yeah. So, and the pay-per-view market back in the day was a lot better because there wasn't no Amazon Fire Sticks. There wasn't no fucking illegal stream sites and everything. People will buy a pay-per-view just to hope they get to pay to watch Floyd Mayweather get his ass kicked. But today, you got the the illegal fire sticks. You got the Stream East. You got the VIP League. You got all these other fucking illegal stream sites. And then these fucking promoters don't realize that the pay-per-view market is dead. And the main offenders, and you want to know who the main offender is? There's two main offenders, PBC and DAZN.
Hey, PBC is on its last legs, Drew.
And the fucked up thing is, you want to know why I say DAZN is a main offender? Because they charge a subscription fee.
Tell me about it.
And then they want you to pay $60 at least for a pay-per-view.
You know, I spent a half an hour today trying to recover my password to cancel DAZN because I don't even want to tell you guys, but I got a way to watch fights. Yeah. I'm not condoning it, piracy or anything like that, but I could do away with DAZN. I'm sure a lot of you guys have come to the grips with that too.
Like,
I couldn't even cancel I can't even cancel DAZN. I don't know what's going on with that.
But here's the thing, Dave. Now we on to a thing that Canelo is down to two candidates for his September fight. Chris Eubank Jr. got knocked out, got stopped by welterweight. And Edwin Berlanga, a C- level fighter that Puerto Ricans do not believe in.
Drew, you're not going to believe it, but I was watching Steve Kim, who is being threatened by assault by Shakur Stevenson. Steve Kim and Mario Lopez. Shout out to Mario Lopez. They say they got an inside source that Errol Spence is on the table for Canelo Alvarez too. Yeah, I know. I'm scratching my head like that can't be true. But they say they got an inside source. I'm gonna remove the graphic here real quick, Drew, regarding Ryan Garcia. I just want to say I appreciate that his father spoke up and made this statement. Our family unequivocally does not support any statements he has made regarding race or religion. These do not reflect who Ryan truly is and how he was raised. The WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, he came out, and as you guys know, he's officially now, for the moment, banned from anything. That means the WBC will not recognize him or rank him as a fighter, or he's not allowed to participate in any competition against WBC fighters. I think that was a strong stance by the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, and Oscar De La Hoya even had to make a statement. But what good are statements when, like I said, like even rappers like Wiz Khalifa was taking pictures with Ryan Garcia this past Saturday. All right, I just want to go on to one real quick. Right here, there was a Chicano Prophet says, did you guys hear that Ryan Garcia's ex-wife is lawyering up and will push for supervised visitation? I have not heard that, but quite honestly, Drew, I'm not surprised, because if he's that he's that mentally unstable, she's made it known that he's mentally unstable. And I've been seeing on social media all kind of famous women. I think I saw that Bad Baby posted on Twitter today that she got effed up by her ex-partner. Like, I'm not calling Ryan Garcia a woman beater, but if he's that mentally unstable, it's not beyond the reaches of possibility for someone to not be in the right state of mind and assault their ex. So if she's asking for supervised visitation, more power to her. Drew, people want to talk about this Canelo fight. Let's talk about it really quickly, guys. The Sphere here in Las Vegas, that big, beautiful, shiny technology ball UFC is going to host on Mexican Independence Day. We have still not heard shit from Canelo Alvarez. He declined to make a comment. I know they tried to ask him about this, but the fact is, it looks like if he does fight on Mexican Independence Day, he better come up with something good, because it's getting really late to promote that here in Las Vegas. And chances are, if it is Edgar Berlanga, he might as well fight in New York City at Madison Square Garden, because he's going to have problems even selling out a place in Vegas against Edgar Berlanga.
And there's an issue with that. You're on the same nut as UFC. You're not going to fucking... Here's the thing. That fight does under 150K. It does. Nobody's going to watch a Canelo or pay to watch a Canelo fight, but a C- level fighter has no chance. This is a Yordrum fight. Tell you the truth, he might be worse than Yordrum. That's how bad it is. Like, seriously, guys, he fights Berlanga. It does under 150,000.
Yeah, and there's no way you guys. I've seen it in the chat here. People are saying, Canelo asking 30 to 50 million. There's no way he's going to garnish that revenue to make that fight feasible. The only thing I can think of is he sells out the big room with the help of Edgar Berlanga in New York City, which he hasn't fought in New York City that I can remember. But then what's the point of making it on Mexican Independence Day? The only benefit there is that because it's on the East Coast, Drew, maybe the fight could start at 6 o'clock here, West Coast time, which is where, the Sphere fight will be at the UFC. And then there won't be a conflict where the main event, it'll be staggered. That might work in his favor. Or, everybody's calling for him to go fight Eubanks at the O2 Arena, Drew. This is a fight that Canelo could potentially have a gate of 50 to 75. I mean, Anthony Joshua does 80,000. They think he could get 50 to 75,000 people to fight Eubanks Jr. in the UK on Mexican Independence Day. It'd be the biggest event for Canelo in Europe. It'd be a big deal. And the main event could get started on the West Coast maybe around 12 p.m., 1 o'clock.
Nah, I think he does more at Yard in the UK. Or Blatzy.
Oh, man.
I think he does more. I think he does more with both of them than fucking Eubank.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you guys in the chat ready to see Canelo make an appearance back at light heavyweight?
Here's the thing, man. I just don't see. I think if Canelo's not going to fight these guys that are close to 175, man, then there's no reason why you should be fighting still. Because tell you the truth, the pay-per-view market's dead. I don't think nobody's going to give you the money you want after this PBC deal is up and everything. I think the zone should be if he's gonna try to re-sign with Eddie Hearn, the zone's gonna tell Eddie Hearn, I'm not paying him at least $30 million a fight for him to fight a bum. I better see him fighting a top-notch fighter if I'm paying him that money. And if you're not, then I don't want nothing to do with Canelo.
So our boy, go ahead, Drew.
It's just, I think people need to realize it like this. When Canelo retires, this sport's done. Because
that's a bold statement.
He's gonna leave this sport the same way Floyd did. And I really think Canelo's gonna be fine, but the sport in general won't be. Because people are gonna how are you gonna make money? How are we gonna make money in the sport of boxing? When you got Tank that averages 200,000 pay-per-view buys out of all his pay-per-views, you don't really got a legitimate face of boxing besides Canelo. But the issue is when he is going to fight a C-minus level fighter or a guy that got knocked out by a welterweight and you're moving him up, instead of fighting someone that you can make your money against and you'll probably get over 1 million buys with Benavidez, it's just something I just look at and why do you put the sport that made you money the way it is? You're supposed to lead by example and everything. To me, I'm sorry, but I might have to agree with everybody. He's ducking Benavidez. And I really think that taking a fight like this, why not? If you're going to take a fight against a C-level fighter, then why not take a fight against Christian and Billy?
Well, I'm not too sure. Christian and Billy is going to be fighing Derevchenko soon. And that's a big step up for him. We don't know how good Christian and Billy is, really. He looks great on the eye test, but we don't know yet. There's a lot of guys at 168 that still need a lot of development, including Edgar Berlanga. He needs way more seasoning. I'm not sure he could even beat Pacheco, to be honest. But here he is with an opportunity to line up a huge payday. And I just wanted to highlight that comment Nerd made that Canelo usually does 500,000 pay-per-views fighting anybody. So he doesn't think he should have a problem. The problem is that whether we like it or not, Drew, he's going to compete with a certain selector of people that watch combat sports on Mexican Independence Day and say, hey, can you afford to buy both of these? Because they're promising to put on a fucking amazing event, excuse my French, at the UFC event here in Las Vegas, an amazing card from top to bottom. There's only so much money people are willing to spend, and not many people are willing to buy 2 pay-per-views on one specific day. The last time Canelo went toe-to-toe against the UFC, he sat in that dressing room at the T-Mobile napping before he fought Kovalev, waiting for the UFC main event. If he doesn't present a fight in the next week or so, you're basically telling your opponent you got less than 8 weeks to prepare to fight the face of boxing. You got less than 8 weeks. So if we don't hear shit by July 15th, I'm pretty much 100% certain he ain't fighting on Mexican Independence Day. He's just going to push it off maybe later into September, maybe into October, who knows? But it could still be very well Berlanga at the T-Mobile. Or it could be Eubanks in the UK, or maybe it's Berlanga in New York City just for fun, switch shit up. But today, my wife said, you know, when I was sharing the news with her, she said, there's no way he's going to beat the Sphere unless he fights David Benavidez, and it's at the Allegiant Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas. That's the only, if you fight David, my wife said it, if you fight David Benavidez, you got a chance. He ain't fighting David Benavidez. Pipe dream, right? What? Pipe dream.
I look at it like this. No, he did 350 with John Ryder on last September. So when Guadalmar. So that wasn't 500,000. He did 350. But let's look at it like this. Would you pay $80 to watch Canelo fight a bum that is worse than your job? Come on. Will we pay $80 now? So get your stream, get your fucking Fire Sticks, get your Stream East, get your fucking VIP leagues ready, guys. Because I ain't good. I ain't giving up my whole own cash for this motherfucker to rob us. To fucking rob us, to let him fight a fucking bum he's gonna take out in 4 rounds. Chris Eubank, man, he's damaged goods. When the fuck has Chris Eubanks been fucking relevant? Like, seriously.
Didn't he get knocked out? Didn't he get knocked out by Liam? He got dropped by Liam Smith, right?
He got knocked out by a welterweight, Dave. He's going to be like this. We're going to see Chris Eubanks sitting in the corner like this.
Hey, Drew, honestly, Salvador Rodriguez is a pretty solid, reporter. I'm going to take this as very serious that Eubanks Jr. is strongly in the running, and it makes a lot of sense. If you go to the UK, and you fight on Mexican Independence Day, they don't give a shit what day it is. They're going to show up to see Canelo and Eubanks Jr. It could sell 50 to 60,000 seats live gate. That's a hell of a payday. That's a hell of a way to expand your reach and your audience and your fan base and get the UK fans. I mean, everybody knows the UK are great fans, probably one of the greatest fan bases. The question is, like I said, it remains to be seen, is will this fight happen on Mexican Independence Day? I want to segue to 2 more fights we didn't cover real quick, Drew, because I know you're probably tired, but hey, I got to get your take. William Zepeda knocks out Chicago's Giovanni Cabrera in less than 4 rounds. I didn't even see that body punch. It was hard to see that body punch landed. It wasn't as clear as in other fights, but Giovanni Cabrera, one thing that was for sure, the dude didn't want to get up the fight anymore. I was shocked that it did not go. I saw Zepeda fight just recently, a couple months ago. I saw him fight at the Cosmopolitan against Maxie Hughes. That guy went longer. I think that guy went 4 or 5 rounds, right? Maybe he went the same distance, but
I think he went like 7 or 8, Maxie Hughes.
So I got to ask you, man, is William Zepeda, there's people calling for him to fight Shakur.
Fury versus Wilder 3, and it was fucking worth it. Like, you got to realize, like, you pay for pay-per-views, and a lot of the pay-per-views you've been paying for ain't worth shit. So raise your fucking money and be fucking stupid.
Shout out to the fight doctor. I wanted to highlight he says Canelo versus Eubank Jr. equals joke. Yeah, I'm trying my hardest to sell that fight. The truth of the matter is, even my wife says, fight Benavidez or fight nobody. Just fight the real fights, man. Okay, we got a comment here for Maddie. I love Zepeda Styles come forward and pushes pressure. And earlier in the show today, if you guys heard me say, man, Castillo arguably beat Floyd Mayweather in their very first fight, and that was with straight up Mexican style pressure. It was way too much for even the defensive genius that Floyd Mayweather is to overcome that. I thought he didn't get the right nod. The right person didn't get the nod. I think it's very possible now, watching Shakur's lack of offense, I think Zepeda could pull off. I think even Zepeda could beat Shakur. That's the type of fighter that's going to beat Shakur. Maybe not, maybe, but I wouldn't mind seeing that fight happen. Let me know if you guys think Zepeda should fight Shakur. They've now fought on the exact same night twice. This is not the first time they fight. It's intentional, with intention that Oscar De La Hoya makes it a point. Oh, Shakur's fighting? I'm going to have William fight too on the same night. So we got one comment. Teach says, I think Shakur beats Zepeda. And the fight doctor says Shakur should retire. But I think it's a fight nonetheless, man. If I'm advising, if I'm the matchmaker, which is, I believe, is Eric Gomez over at Golden Boy, I'm starting off with Baranchek. I'm securing that WBO title for Zepeda with Baranchek. We know Lomachenko's not going to fight Baranchek. He already said, I won't fight my boy. That sets up a possibility for a unification with any of the champions, whoever wants it. Whoever wants that smoke can get it. Well, first step is getting Zepeda to be a world champion. He's number one across the board. Drew, does Zepeda beat any of the world champions? Does he beat all of them? Some of them?
Baranchek he probably beats.
All right.
Yeah.
We both agree on that one.
Be honest, the first time he was offered a Shakur fight, he did duck it. He did not accept it. I'm not going to say duck. He didn't accept the fight the first time. Does he beat him? I don't know. He could be timed. You beat volume and speed with time. I don't think he beats Tank. I don't think he beats Loma. He might. Shakur and him is a 50-50 fight. If Shakur shows up and fucking tries to time him, Shakur should win that fight. But if Shakur boxes the way he normally does, Zepeda's going to have to cut the wing off and use his volume on him. And that's the only thing we got to say about it. Are we going to see Zepeda being able to cut the wing off? I don't know. But but I really see this right now. I think that 2 out of the 4 champions will time him and beat him. Now, Baranchek, I think he dispatches Baranchek. Shakur, it's a toss-up because is Shakur gonna show the superior boxing skill that he had, the talent that he has, or is he just gonna be what he always does? We're not gonna know that, and so now, but here's the main issue. Is Oscar finally is going to say, yo, I'm going to make a deal with Bob to let him fight Baranchek. Try to give him a belt and a belt to Golden Boy. And, but here's the messed up part about it. He may be an A side to Shakur. He probably will be an A side of Baranchek, but he won't be an A side to Tank or Loma. And I think that Oscar's at Bob's Morrison and PBC with Morrison with those two. But with Shakur and fucking Baranchek, I think Oscar has the upper hand in negotiations because you could call Zepeda the A side and everything. But I think he has a better chance beating 2 out of the 4. He definitely doesn't beat 2 out of the 4.
That's not bad at all. Hey, I'll take that, man. Now, I did say there was one more fight I wanted to touch on, guys, and that's we just all pretty much agree that Bam Rodriguez should be someone that is on your pound for pound list. Bam Rodriguez had a fantastic performance just a week prior capturing the 115 title from that Quadras. Help me out, Drew. I forgot his name already. Big win for Bam Rodriguez. Now defeats 3 of the great legends. And Chocolatito today, I read, who was Chocolatito's fighting this weekend. He said he's open to fighting him now. He's changed his tune. Very interesting.
I don't think I wouldn't want to see. I want to see fucking Bam fight the guys in their prime now. The champions.
All right, well, here it is. There can't be any more than prime, but this guy Martinez, okay, Fernando Martinez of Argentina, he fought on PBC. I saw him fight on Cajas, I believe, to pick up that 115 title. He is a world title holder, and he was unifying this weekend with Ioka in Japan on Sunday. He now has 2 of the titles, Drew. I didn't think he was going to beat Ioka. This happened on Sunday morning in Japan, and he resoundingly beat Ioka 9 rounds to 3. And in fact, the 10th round is probably the best round of boxing action all week. If you guys didn't get to see it, go check out that fight, because Bam Rodriguez is going to fight this Argentinian guy. And Fernando Martinez is a beast. He's his own style beast. Now, I don't think Bam's going to have trouble with him. But I don't think it's a guy that Bam can't beat. And I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. What does that mean?
It's like this.
He's not going to have to really fight any of these great Japanese beast warriors in this division at 115 to unify all these titles. If he can get past Fernando Martinez, which he wants to fight this year.
But here's the thing. He's contractually obligated to
a rematch. Estrada rematch. You were correct about that.
But here's the thing. The biggest thing that's issue with Bam is his best wins are against guys out of the prime.
That is correct.
Side,
that's why I said Fernando Martinez. I don't think Fernando Martinez is going to pull off the win.
I think he has against him.
Teach here says Fernando is a come forward slugger. I got Bam beating him. He does do some nice work, but Bam does even greater work with his angles, his Lomachenko style, just creating angles and opportunities is insane.
I think Bam's going to have trouble. Bam's going to have the first thing of trouble when he moves to 118.
Right.
Because I think Juto Nakatani beats Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah, Nando Lamos also says Nakatani scarier for Bam than Inoue that size. And I think he stands close to 5'9", Nakatani. He ain't going to have to worry about that for now. Right now, all he should be worried about is this unification with the Argentinian fighter who I just said went into Japan, went into the backyard of Ioka and beat him resoundingly 9-3. If Bam Rodriguez can pull off this unification, Drew, he's going to be forerunner for fighter of the year. Straight up. He's going to be runner fighter of the year. He's going to be sitting with 3 of the 4 belts. Even possible that maybe he cleans out the division this year, which is what Canelo did years back when he cleaned out 168 in 1 calendar year.
It could happen, but he's got to get the fights. He's got to get the fights in, and tell you the truth.
He has that rematch too.
It got the rematch, unfortunately. Oh, I was saying unification all the way. That's got to be his goal, is unification. I would do anything I can to get out of this Estrada rematch and go for unification.
Step aside money. That's where the step aside money comes into
play.
Is.
But Eddie Hearn promotes Estrada too, so that's going to be very hard to push that to the side and everything, because he's got to do his best for Estrada too. But I look at it like this. I just don't. I wouldn't want to see a Chocolatito versus Bam fight. I just wouldn't want to see it now. Chocolatito's too old for Bam.
And Chocolatito will be fighting this weekend in Nicaragua, and I'm not even sure if it's on DAZN, guys, but obviously he helped prepare Bam for this amazing performance he had. He was one of his primary sparring partners. They both sparred each other for I don't know how many days, rounds. But obviously they got each other in their shape, and he said he's open to it. We're going to move on to our fight week predictions, Drew. We'll do them real quick because it is pretty late. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with the Shoe Shine tonight. If you guys enjoy what we have, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, the like button, drop us a comment. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this summer. That's a goal right here. All right, Drew, I'm going to the casino this Saturday. I'm going to the Palms Casino to see Janovic versus Mikhailovic. I've never seen this middleweight contender. To be honest, I still think, this is the weakest division in all of boxing. Janibek has it pretty easy. Aside from Carlos Adames, I really don't know who's going to challenge this guy. If you guys think who's a good middleweight prospect contender, I know Elijah Garcia just recently lost on PBC. People thought he was going to be a big player in the middleweight division.
I think the guy Shiraz from Queensberry.
That's right.
That's going to be the guy.
I forgot I can't believe that dude's a middleweight, dude. He's like what, 6'3"?
I think he can beat these guys right now.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he could beat Carlos Adames. Maybe one or two more fights, he'd be ready to fight Janibek and take that. And I'm looking forward to this Saturday, the Top Rank card on ESPN. Like I said, shout out to our boy Ruben Villada, Salas Salinas. He'll be on that card. He's still trying to make his play for to get back into a title contention shot. Top Rank signed Ruben Villa for a multi-fight deal. And that only means one thing, guys. When Top Rank signs you to a multi-fight deal, it's with the intention of getting you into a position for a title opportunity. The featherweight division is one of my favorite, man. You got that big old 6 foot tall featherweight. You got El Venado Lopez fighting at Top Rank. You got all kinds of great fighters, man. I'm excited to see what Ruben does. Don't even know much about his opponent, but that is my prediction. Ruben Villa comes off with a win. Janibek with the win. I'm just going for the entertainment factor, guys. But even better than that, Drew, do you think Janibek loses, wins?
Janibek's going to win the fight. These are just showcase fights to me.
That's it. That's exactly it. And that's why I had no problem getting bomb-ass floor seats, Drew. But that brings us to your side of the country. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, makes the fucking final home debut of Philadelphia's Boots Ennis. The welterweight nobody wants to fight. Cody Crawley, unfortunately, did want to fight him. The guy got the fight opportunity of his life and came away with some type of eye injury that was detected. So David Avanesian, a guy who was knocked out by Terrence Bud Crawford, we finally get to see Boots Ennis against somebody Bud Crawford fought. Remember, Bud Crawford was the welterweight champion. He's in recess. He's basically he still he never even fought at 154 yet. Does this guy David Avanesian on last minute duty stand any chance of not getting knocked out? And if you are a Boots Ennis hater, straight up put it up in the chat right now if you think he's a hype job.
Yeah, but he has a better resume than Roger Ortiz. So tell you the truth, they can't argue with that. What are you going to tell me? McKingston's a better fighter than Bruce's best wins? Wow. What a fucking joke.
Big news, guys. Seriously. Speaking of Virgil Ortiz, not to get sidetracked, but that fight with Bohacek is official for August, I think 15th or 10th in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. I'm going to go to that fight. Bohacek came away with a surprising beating on Brian Mendoza. If you haven't seen that interview, guys, I interviewed Brian Mendoza, who fought Bohacek. The week of the fight, I interviewed him. Brian Mendoza was very certain he was going to come away with the victory against Bohacek, and it was actually quite the opposite. And now Bohacek, their interim champion, is going to fight Virgil Ortiz. Finally,
but you want to know something?
A real test.
And I said this, and he liked my fucking treat, too. And he retweeted my fucking tweet, by the way. Bohacek beats Virgil Ortiz.
Shout out to Bohacek. He's really good on social media, Drew. Surprisingly, he's very active, and he's trying to build a fan base. And he does post a lot of interesting content. So shout out to Bohacek. The fight of his life, man. He has one sole loss against Brandon Adams. That happened on the Ring City USA TV show. But other than that, he's come out with nothing but knockouts and stoppages ever since that. That is a hell of a fight. It's going to be right here in Las Vegas. Virgil Ortiz will finally be tested. Drew, you mentioned Virgil Ortiz's resume has been fluff. At 154, he's fought nobody. At 147, let's put
the stupid statement. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say something right now. So you're telling me Michael McKingston, someone you didn't fucking know about until he fought Virgil Ortiz, is better than anybody Boots fought? That's fucking his best win, Michael McKingston, bro. Come on now. Come on now.
Nando, I got the phone if you still want to call.
Bias or
If Nando wants to call, the phone line is still up.
But you know it's the fucking truth and it's facts. Who the fuck? You didn't know who the fuck Michael McKinston was before he went and fought fucking Boot.
How are the ticket sales, Drew? Okay, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since Philadelphia has had a champion like Danny, the hometown champ, make an appearance like that. Did they manage to come close to selling that out?
Got like 40,000 seats left.
All right, man. All right. Well, I'm going to just say it right now, guys. Boots Ennis is going to stop David Avanesian, and that's not a hard pick. That is not a hard pick at all.
I'm going to say round 7.
Round 7. David Avanesian is a sneaky little veteran. He's been in there with Terrence Bud Crawford. The only thing I can just is working against him is he's a last-minute replacement. So I don't know how good a shape he is, but it's not a showcase level type of opponent. But I think that Boots Ennis is going to put on a showcase in his hometown. Then again, Drew, a lot of people have been fighting kind of subpar when they're making their big home debut. We saw recently the former champion at 140 pounds from New Orleans. What's his name? Regis Prograis looked like shit in New Orleans. Then we've seen Devin Haney in San Francisco look great. So, I mean, which one? We always have that
but you know
lingering
what, Dave?
over us.
You know what, Dave? He should be fucking happy that Virgil didn't fight Tim Tszyu because Tim Tszyu would have stopped Virgil Ortiz.
Ooh.
Like, you gotta realize this right now. It didn't do him any favors. Like, Virgil Ortiz is very unlucky and everything. This is why I'm looking at this. Bobacek, that's a great bet to bet Bobacek to beat fucking Virgil Ortiz. He's been on the big stage. Virgil Ortiz hasn't been there yet. Virgil Ortiz, since his comeback, only fought a total of like 2 rounds, 3 at most. Other than that, he hasn't been blown to deep waters. And his best opponent is Michael McKenzie. And Nando still hasn't told me, can't admit to me that he didn't know who the fuck Michael McKenzie was before he fought Ortiz.
Chicano Prophet says, why do we keep talking about Ortiz? Yeah, the fight's quite a bit of ways. They announced the fight officially. I think the tickets will be going on sale very shortly if they didn't go on sale yet. But I'm going to definitely go check that fight out. I love fights at Mandalay Bay. It's a $10, $15 Uber ride. I'm going to that fight. And shout out to Off the Ropes Boxing and MMA. Earlier, he just mentioned, he said something. He brought up Matias losing in Puerto Rico. That's right. Matias did lose in Puerto Rico recently. He looked poor. So it's like there's kind of like an ongoing curse of fighters making their hometown debuts that are supposed to be showcase events, and they kind of backfire or something goes wrong. Now, I don't think that's going to happen this weekend with Boots Ennis, but anything is possible in the sport of boxing. I know some of you guys probably think that Boots is a hype job. I don't think that. I think Boots would give Bud Crawford a run for his money if he could just get enough experience in him. I think he probably could potentially beat him. I always tend to go with the younger fighter, and that's been the case. You get Bam Rodriguez versus against an aged legend and Quadras or whoever, Rungvisai, the young guy always wins. The young guy always. It's very rare that the old lion, unless you're Canelo Alvarez or Gennady Golovkin,
especially in those little weight classes. Because they go quickly.
Especially in the little weight classes.
Like,
exactly.
You gotta look at it like this. That's the only thing that's going against Bam, that his best wins against guys out of the prime and everything. Bam, this is why Bam has to move up and fight these younger guys. I don't think he beats Junto Nakatani, but it's just a lot of things that it's just, unfortunately, Estrada had a title. And you got to take that title off of him. You build him up, you get him against the washed up Wonder side. Has great win against Chocolatito, stopped Chocolatito and everything. So you use that to build Bam up. But now that he stopped Estrada with a body shot, won his belt and everything, we got to look at it like this. What else can Bam do? Because Bam could be undersized moving up to 118.
Could very well be. There's the graphic right there, guys. Bohechek versus Ortiz is official. I just wanted to make sure if you didn't get the news.
And I even offered Bohechek to come on the Shoe Shine and have an interview.
Absolutely, man. And by the way, guys, like I said, I'm going to see if I can get out to the Palms earlier for media day or something, Wednesday or Thursday. It's coming up really quickly. Today's Tuesday, probably on Thursday, and see if I could line up an interview with, with Ruben Villa of Salinas, who'll be on that Top Rank card. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us. If you are into boxing like you are, because you're here, don't forget Thursday's the round table. I agreed to be a guest on the panel this Thursday. It's either going to be on D-Style Boxing on YouTube or Ringside Reporter with Joe Habib. I forget which one of those, but make sure you guys check out the round table this Thursday, I believe at 4 p.m. So anything else, Drew?
No, calm down, man. Take a chill pill.
Nando, I turned off the phone line. This was your opportunity to make sure you call in next Monday. We'll see how Boots does. I'll be eager to see.
This dude talking had the phone line on for the motherfucker. He didn't want to call the fuck in. Made me go through bullshit tonight.
Yeah.
Don't talk shit in the chat if you're not going to call in, Nando. God damn it. You pissed me off tonight.
I'll make sure everybody here next Monday night, because we'll be back to regular Monday night. Make sure you come back and give us your analysis, give us your scorecard of Boots Ennis and Janet Beck, the middleweight champion. Until then, I am Dave in the 702 Shoeshine Philly Drew Evo. Peace out, homie.